Welcome back to Footy Classified. Caro, you're hearing some noise around the Pies coaching situation, is that right?
Yeah, well, Collingwood have certainly contacted Craig Kelly, the manager of Brad Scott, currently head of AFL Victoria at the AFL, and also a front runner to replace Steve Hocking as the head of footy at the AFL. Brad Scott has to make up his mind, I guess, whether he's going to go, which job he's going to go for. My understanding, Ed, is that Brad is... Well, I'm hearing from, people at the AFL that perhaps Brad hasn't lost the hunger to coach and that there is every chance that he will put himself into the process at the Collingwood Football Club. And if he does, I reckon he'd be a very good chance to get that job.
He's very well respected at Collingwood from his time back there.
And he enjoyed working at Collingwood. He loved working under Mick Malthouse. He's got a great relationship with the footy club. He doesn't have the doubts about the club and all the issues that are going on there that others have. And so it's going to be intriguing to see what he chooses to do.
Is he the only one in the mix that has coached before? So, Ross, you haven't been called by the Pies?
No, I wouldn't think I'm a genuine candidate there.
Okay.
But I think Don Pike.
Don Pike, I think. Yeah. Don Pike, my understanding is who... I think Craig Kelly looks after Don Pike as well.
Mark Williams, premiership coach?
Yes. But I would say if I had to pick a front runner, I would say...
And Boss has been spoken to too, has he?
Yes, but I don't know if he's been spoken to. I don't know if Brad's been spoken to, but I know the club have said they want to talk to Brad Scott.
I think the club's going well enough it'll say who they want, and that person would probably say yes, I think.
So you're saying they won't go through a process?
No, I've got no idea what they're doing. No, they've got a process. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I don't think there's any worries about if you're going to coach Collingwood.
Can we talk about the TLA connection? Because we go, they reach out. Well, Craig Kelly runs TLA. He owns TLA. Past premiership player. He's very close, Graham Wright. Like, it's a pretty tight web they weave.
Well, you had to jump out because you had a conflict because he was managing the bloke who you replaced at Fremantle.
That was very awkward. I really didn't tell him.
We know that Craig Kelly pulls all the strings, and particularly at Collingwood.
Yeah, no, it's hard. He manages how many?
And his son's playing there.
It's not a criticism.
And he used to live with the footy manager.
It's just an observation.
How does the prospect of Brad Scott as senior coach of Collingwood rub on you?
No, well, I'm not worried about that. The club can make that decision.
No, I'm interested as a Collingwood supporter.
I like Brad Scott.
Hypothetical, who would you pick up the phone and call?
I was almost going... Brad Scott was in the mix to replace Mick Malthouse.
Would you be ringing Clarko now?
Would you be happy if, as a Collingwood supporter, Brad Scott got the job?
Yeah, I'll make it... I am sort of hedging my bets here. Brad Scott, tick, no problem. Don Pike, tick, no problem. Alistair Clarkson,
tick.
I'm going to pick him.
But Caro, Eddie would pick... Thank you. Eddie would pick Clarko up, but you don't believe Collingwood are interested in...
No, but I'm not...
I don't think there's interest from either side.
Before words go into
If Alistair goes anywhere next year, it will be Carlton, and we're not certain about that.
Right, now, just with that, I'm not putting anyone ahead of anyone there because I've spoken to Brad Scott over the journey and I've spoken to Don Pike to come to the club as the football director 2 years ago, and they're wonderful people. If they got any one of those three...
But just to clarify, you'd pick up the phone, Alistair, we need to meet.
Oh, all day.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Jeff Brown situation is getting really messy, and I'm just starting to worry now that he's got to put himself forward and admit that he is working with some of these people and actually say he wants to be the president. I know he said he wants to be president.
Is it messy or it's dead?
Hang on, can I jump in? Because I just want to go through a few things and I don't want to back and forth on this, and I just want to get a bit of clear air because I've said I'm staying right out of it, and I am, OK? You ask me questions on here, I'll give you the answers, but there has been some things that I've been very dismayed about in the process to this particular moment in time. The first thing is that whole EGM nonsense was just a debacle and an embarrassment to the Collingwood Football Club. And people running around threatening to go to ASIC, the Australian Securities Investment Commission, just cuts me to the core that anyone who would say they're a Collingwood supporter would go to ASIC or go to the law before you sort it out at the Collingwood Football Club, like we've been able to do for the best part of a quarter of a century. And I can see this going on and on and on unless something happens. And it's time for people who have the love of Collingwood as their main mantra to now step up. So the first thing I want Jeff Brown to pull the pin on any EGM. I don't want an EGM at the Collingwood Football Club. The AGM to go ahead as planned in December, but with a twist, and I'll get to that in a moment. Right now, it's made us look like a laughing stock, OK? The reason why we have the best sponsors and things is because we're a professional outfit that doesn't carry on, right? That's why we have it, right? I want this board that is in there at the moment, and for all the other rubbish that goes on, this board has a mandate. It went to an AGM in January and had a mandate. 2 board members haven't been ratified, but the board is there. Go and secure the best coach. Right? That's all I want them to do. Go get the best coach for the Collingwood Football Club. But what I would do, as a bit of a peace plan with Jeff Brown, is get him in on the tent, on the process, so that this happens. When the new coach is appointed at Collingwood, he knows he's got the imprimatur of both of the candidates who are going to run the club next year, either Mark Corder or Jeff Brown. Jeff Brown is a very impressive person. He's a great friend of mine. I know the people on the board. They're all there. They can all run the club. Some incarnation of them will be doing it next year. Whoever is the coach must not stand up at that AGM or EGM on December 16 and be the most experienced person at the Collingwood Football Club that night. So the members get to decide the future leaders of the club. And when it happens, I want them to shake hands and sing the song and get on with it. In the meantime, what I want, because I'm starting to hear Tammany Hall shenanigans happening around the place of stacking and branching and threatening and all this other routine that I thought I'd exterminated out of Collingwood 23 years ago. And the only thing that will bring me back to the fray is if I see people vandalising the Collingwood Football Club going forward. So here's what I want to see. I want an independent electoral officer and an ombudsman appointed from this moment on, and a line of sight on how this election is going to be called and what's going to happen, whether it's an EGM or an AGM. If it's an AGM, there's 3 people up, you'll have a split board, it'll just be shenanigans left, right and centre. So let's do it properly. I want us to stay out of the courts. I want to stop people going to people in the media who are Collingwood haters and getting them to stitch our club up and make us look like a laughingstock. We're all sick of it. The second half on Sunday night, we just said, right, enough. Let's get the Collingwood Football Club back. I want a battle of ideas. Right? I don't want people snipping around the outside. You said that, you did that. I want a battle of ideas. I want the incumbent board to tell me what the future of this football club is all about. And I want Jeff Brown to step up and tell us what his idea of the future is. It's a sophisticated process for sophisticated people for a sophisticated football club. There have been too many lunatics running around the fringes in the last 6 months, and we're not copping it anymore. So that is it. The only objective from now on is only the best for Collingwood. It worked for 23 years, and that's not having a crack at any person individually. It's just got out of shape. Now let's pull it together. Look forward to the future. December 16, have an election. In the meantime, pull the club together for God's sake and go and get the best coach and get us back on track for season 2022.
Caro, the final say on this, thanks Ed, in terms of Jeff Brown.
Just push me off the door.
No. So will Collingwood name a coach by the end of the home and away season?
You would hope so.
I reckon they will.
They will?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep, I do.
And Jeff Brown, has he lost all the momentum that he had? Has it all gone?
He has. And unfortunately, he's seen to be now, there are these people acting as his puppets, really. You've got the Galbaleys, Francis Galbally, you've got Con Francescos. I'm not saying these are bad people. Paul Tuddenham, people who wanted to get on the board and didn't get on.
But there's a lot of people...
He's not prepared to put forward his ticket because he's worried. I mean, I just
This is the way forward, Caro. This is the way...
what's happening
This is the way forward. Put up or shut up.
Yep,
but I want the current board to also put up and do it the right way for the Collingwood Football Club. If we're going to have an election on the 16th of December, then let's do it properly and get a mandate so that at the end of it we sing good old Collingwood forever and go forward.
How many seats in December 16th?
There's 3 up at the moment at the AGM, 3 of 7, so it's almost a referendum anyway. May as well spill the lot and get it done in one go.
So spill the lot.
Do the lot and get on with it.
Good luck on getting Mark Corder and those blokes to get Jeff Brown in on the coaching interview process.
Optimistic.
But you know what? If you are intent on getting these things right, it's time to pull the club together, not be fighting against each other, particularly on these major things.